All right, everybody, welcome out to the Lagerroom Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, September the 24th, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey. Just trying to get into that. You ever see these things?
I don't even know what the hell it is. What is it?
It's like a cracker kind of thingy. They sell them here.
It looked like one of those sponges that was like dehydrated, and that you put it on the water.
It very well might be what it is. They use it. They make
or a pork rind, one or the other, just a very square one.
Funny you should bring up pork, because what they use these for is they make like a pork paste. This is like from the Cuban bakery around the corner.
Okay.
And they spread it on these things.
Okay.
And
So
they're cracker-like.
Cracker-like. So it's not a cracker. It's cracker-like.
Let's see, there's a name. Let me see.
It's probably a Cuban name, and it translates loosely to cracker-like.
Well, they're called galletas.
Galletas?
Yeah, let me see what galletas means.
I got it up right here. It says cracker-like.
Cookies. That says cookies. That's not a cookie.
It's not a cookie.
If that's a cookie, that's the worst damn cookie I've ever had.
That sucks.
Oh, no, I've had worse ones. Never mind.
Yeah,
but
I've had some pretty bad cookies. I've had some very excellent cookies, but I've had some pretty bad cookies too. So.
But I'll say one thing: they're not dissimilar to like oyster crackers in their texture.
Okay,
so these will be good for eating between beers. So
eating between beer. All right, yeah. I'll have to get some of that. You have to let me know how it goes tonight. If it goes well, I'll have to track some down and get some for subsequent shows.
And don't forget the pork paste.
I don't know if pork paste on that would go good in between beer though.
It's like a pate. Right, so it's like pasta de something. I don't forget the rest of the word, but it was Carrie Century's bringing it home. And like,
well, at that point, I'll just get some rye bread. At that point, I'll just some rye bread and liverwurst and have that in between each.
It's the same thing. Well, no. You're not doing the pork paste between. Just the cookie, the galletas.
So. Well, that's what you said. Don't forget the pork paste. You said.
Actually, you know what? Guess what it says down here in the corner?
Crackers. Crackers. There you go.
There we
go. Ready. So, how are you on this fine evening?
It's you were on jury duty, right? You can't talk about it. You've been sworn to secrecy, so you can't talk about that on the air. I gave him 10,000 ways to get out of jury duty, and he failed. None of them can.
It's funny. I've never. This is the first time I ever got called to jury duty. I've never. Well, no, it's not the first time I ever got called. It's the first time I ever had to go.
You got selected,
right? Well, no. Just go.
Just go. So you called the night. You called last.
No. I mean, even from when I was, 18 and on, I was volunteer firefighter, so you don't have to go to jury duty, right? But I'm not in the same county now, nor am I active. So there you go.
So you're in the pool with the rest of us plebes.
That would be correct.
Yes. So no, and then work has been. My holiday season just began today, mostly for the most part. So I need drinks.
Yeah, I need some plural.
Yeah,
I need some too. So on some housekeeping notes, happy Festival of Latest Novelties Day.
We may have to discuss what that actually means.
I don't even know. I mean, I can only imagine it's whatever this year's newest novelties are. This is the day we celebrate those.
Oh, okay, like Dak Prescott sucking.
I don't think that's a novelty.
No, he's usually pretty damn good, except for the playoffs. It's not regular season, and he's really sucking hard. But we'll get to that later. All right, let's bring the guest on this. I need to crack a beer.
Okay, so we'll go over the rest of these with the guests. Seeing as we all need a drink, and he's already drinking. So
as he should be.
As he should be. So let's welcome to the show, Mr. Albert Gattullo. Hey, Al.
There he is.
Good evening, gentlemen.
What are you drinking already?
What am I drinking? Well, let's see. I am drinking. This is Torch and Crown's Lowbrow.
Good beer.
Yeah, Helles Lager.
Lowbrow, not low, not to be confused with low and
brow. Right? Yeah. Lowbrow.
But
sadly, Torch and Crown in the news for the last 2 days. Apparently, they laid off their brewery and cellar staff.
What?
They're going to contract brewing. Now, I don't believe their head brewer, because he's also a co-owner of the company, has been let go, but obviously. But everybody in their support staff in their brewery in the Bronx, where they brew the beer, has been laid off. and they started a GoFundMe page to help these guys. Apparently, they were given no notice, no make up PTO days or anything like that. They were basically told, one day they were at work, the next day, sorry guys, you're out of a job. So I don't know what's going on there. Obviously it's difficult to operate one place in Manhattan, much less two places, because they have the other place, the place in Union Square.
Yep.
Which is currently running their Oktoberfest.
Right. So they're shifting to contract brewing. There's no mention of who's brewing the beer, though. One would, the first thing that came to mind was Bronx Brewery, but Bronx Brewery has now merged with Captain Lawrence. They're moving out of the Bronx to go a little further upstate to brew their beer.
And they're going to keep the tap room in the Bronx, though.
Yes,
I believe I heard that.
It's either the Manhattan one. I'm not sure.
No. They're closing the Bronx one. They're keeping the Manhattan one.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Well, they have two locations in Manhattan, right? I think it's two.
I didn't know that. I thought they had just the one.
I think two, and the one in the Bronx. I think they're closing the one in the Bronx. They're keeping. I know they're keeping the one in Manhattan open, but they're moving their operations up to Captain Lawrence. And I don't know how many people have gotten laid off there, but the Torch and Crown one is interesting because if you're this soon shifting from making your beer to contract beer, that to me says there's a cash flow problem, and we're seeing more breweries now around the country shifting to this contract brewing model because, hey, look, it's cheaper from one standpoint of I don't have to pay employees. I don't have to pay health insurance. I'm paying the cost of the other brewery making my beer, the ingredients, the cans, whatever.
Right.
But the other part of the overhead, I'm saving money on. I mean, look at what happened in Lost Abbey. They were partnering up with Mother Earth, and now they're taking over Epic's old facility to brew beer out of there and sort of do a joint operation with somebody else.
Which Epic?
The one at Point Loma, I believe, stays open because that's on the. They rent that space from the San Diego Port Authority. I think this was the one in. I want to. It's not La Jolla. I think it's Vista. It's Vista. I think where I read it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Not too far up the road from where Mother Earth is, but they had just built a facility with, joint taps in there and all of this other stuff. Sure. But Tommy Arthur decided, you know what? I want a bigger space and I want to be able to do a few things and bring some tanks over. So he's doing that. But we're seeing a lot of this consolidation where it's cheaper for breweries to contract. I'll give you another one, which I don't know if it's for public consumption, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway because it was told to me like 3 months ago, and at this point, who cares?
And no one's watching, so we're good.
Yeah, and it does. So Killsborough Brewing, which is soon to open on Staten Island, they were supposed to open this month. I think it's probably going to be sometime next month now. Again, it's the city and permits and all this other stuff. Is now brewing Flagship's beer on Staten Island.
Interesting.
Okay.
Now they're friends. They're only down the road, but apparently Flagship has laid off most of their staff. They've kept their head brewer, but laid off everybody else. And Sean at Killsborough is making his beer.
It's crazy. And you know what? And here's the funny thing. So let me get this straight. You know what? Put a pin in that for a second because I got to bring something up, and then we'll get back to even more of that. Right. What are you drinking? What are you drinking, Dave? We know what you're drinking. What are you drinking, Dave?
Yes. I am drinking. This is a Tavour beer. It's from Sapwood Cellars, and it is a collaboration with Vigilante Coffee Roasters. And it's orange crema. What should I do it this way? This is a dark mild. And it's a dark mild that's got some stuff in it. Obviously, it's got some orange zest in it, coffee and vanilla, and it's different. It's different, but like everything from Sapwood, it's well balanced. It's strange with the
high ABV.
No, not at all.
Oh,
this is a 4.8.
Oh,
it's right there on the screen. Yeah, 4.8.
Yeah, it's a 4.8.
Like that.
This is the orange. Those. Those. What are they called? Those like chocolate oranges that come in foil that you break apart.
Yes.
It's that kind of orange. It's that.
That's cool.
Right. It's that orange. It's that candy orange.
Right.
Essence to it.
And
I like that. If you took the coffee. The coffee almost comes off as chocolate, so it almost get the scent of that orange. But then you take your second, it's like, no, that's absolutely coffee. Never mind.
Gotcha. Oh, so I'll have to have that next week on the show.
Orange and coffee.
Mm.
There you go.
Very interesting.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. I have it though. Obviously, I'm not drinking it tonight. However, my first beer is local New Jersey beer. Stayed local, and a little spellbound beer. Diviner. Their black lager, their Shorts beer, right there.
Very nice.
This year's batch, I assume.
This year's batch,
considering you were out that way.
Yeah, and I have it in my mechanical glass,
which is not too far from them.
Right, exactly. So, Prost.
Zumvoll. That is.
John brewed a nice beer. That's very good.
Still don't know.
As he usually does. So, that's very good. As he always does. I shouldn't say usually. I should say always.
Always.
All of his stuff's spot on. So, but there you go. So those are our beers. Okay, back to what I was saying.
Okay.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
In New York, you can contract brew your beer.
Right.
Bring it into another location that you own and pour it on tap.
Yes.
Can't do that in Jersey.
How novel.
Yeah. It's interesting. There are a lot of things that New York can do that New Jersey can't.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's go to Pennsylvania. Let's go to Pennsylvania. You can do it there. Oh yeah, you can do it there.
That's right. And you can buy canned cocktails now in stores, which you couldn't do previously. In fact, the governor of Pennsylvania, doing a big photo op, tried to buy some canned cocktails and didn't have his ID.
That's good for them. I like that.
I thought that was great. And nobody bought it for him either. Nobody bought it. You know, it wasn't like one of his aides said, "Oh, Governor, I'll buy it for you." He said, "No, I don't have my ID. Not buying it." Walked out.
There you go.
That was like one of the New Jersey lawmakers. Where were they? They were at Jersey Storm, wasn't it? And
Jersey Cyclone.
Jersey Cyclone, and they were in Jersey Cyclone, and and as soon as he's done, gets a beer. He's talking to him about the beer laws. As soon as he's done, the owner passes them the check. He's like, "You've never charged me for beer before." And he's like, "Well, the law now states it's illegal. You have to. I can't give comps." And of course, the guy got it, laughed, paid his bill. That was amazing.
Oh, that's great. That's brilliant. That's a good
brilliant. He was my hero for the day. Yeah. Probably for that whole week.
Yeah. So but again, I think this is becoming a trend with a lot of different breweries where it seems that it's less expensive to continue to brew your beer in your place, can it, distribute it, get it out, this and that, rather than it's just easier for somebody to just, hey, brew my batch to what I need it to be, and I'll serve that. And they started, like I said, they started a GoFundMe page for some of these workers that were just laid off. That to me, that strikes to me like there's a cash flow problem. And that's a shame because that's a great location where they're at. The Union Square one is only open during the summer months. I think it closes after the Oktoberfest or a couple weeks after. And their little space on Van Dam Street is fantastic, but that's a problem. That's a serious problem.
And I think we're probably going to see more and more of this as sales of craft beer in general, continue to dip.
Right, 100%.
We're still seeing it, and they're doing what they can to survive. So you think we're going to see more of these beer consortiums where you've got a couple of breweries coming together in one production facility, but for different tap rooms?
Well, I think you could
not in Jersey.
No,
but elsewhere.
But but rather than Jersey, just call it contract brewing.
Well,
which is done. It just can't It just can't go into a tap
you can't room. Put it in a tap room. You can contract brew them and distribute your beer.
Right. Well, all right. So here's an idea, and somebody that we all know, no name is mentioned, is already trying to do that, and he's over in the Atlantic Highlands. So he's trying to reduce size.
Yep.
And wants to make the beers that he wants to make.
We've mentioned it on the show already.
Okay. So, to me, if you're
don't say it 3 times.
No. But to me, if you're a New Jersey, and I'm speaking specifically for New Jersey here. If you're a New Jersey brewery and you're brewing 20 different selections and you're only selling 8 of them on a regular basis, the other ones are just sitting there. why are you brewing 20 different things if they're not moving? A place like Icarus will move 25 beers.
Yeah.
You could put 25 beers in a seltzer and a slushy and whatever, and they're going to move. At Bolero, you could put 25 up and you're going to move, 22 to 23 of them.
Yeah.
But if you're ABC Brewery, who's brewing 15 beers and only 4 are moving, well, guess what? You've got a problem. You're making too many things that people aren't drinking and you're wasting money. Shorten it up and brew only the things that are moving, and maybe one special one-off that you like, that you want to enjoy or whatever. Now your profit margins, you're not going to make the money that you were making.
Which is the way Carton used to be.
Right. I think that's what he's trying to get back to, and I don't blame him for that.
It's starting to get into geography almost right now, right? Because there's breweries that you see that have had to contract a little bit. Here's another definition of the word contract. But are they making worse beer than some of the places that we've mentioned? And I don't think so. It's just they're not as geographically accessible,
right,
as some of these other places. They don't have the population around them to support,
right. But the location thing is one thing, right? I mean, when some of these guys started 7-8 years ago, the model was build somewhere in the middle of nowhere so you're not bothering anybody, and people will come to you. Yeah. Right? No, I mean in Jersey, that was basically it. Like, you can build a brewery, but we want to put you where everybody has to look through the weeds to kind of figure out where you are and then go to you. Be in a desert and have nothing around you, no food, no nothing. Drink however you want, and then figure out a way to get home, right?
Yeah, because the second you start bothering the neighbors,
right,
you're out.
Right. So, now the model is, hey, we need to be in the center of a town. We need to be somewhere where there's activity going, there's food happening, there's, whatever going. Or you can take it, the Jason Goldstein model, and say, okay, I'm going to buy a piece of land and I'm going to build not only my brewery, but I'm going to build a pad that can support restaurants that I don't have to worry about. And it's none of my business. I just have to collect rent and do it that way. Yeah, if you have the money and the capital, that's great. But most of these guys don't. So now they're looking to invest in real estate in towns. And I think that's the smarter thing. Build something a little bit smaller where you don't have to go, you're not going crazy, and make it a cozy little tap room and put the things in that you want, the bells and whistles, instead of going, all right, I got this big empty warehouse. Here's a couple of chairs, and I'm hoping that you drink my beer and stay for an hour or two and then, pick up something to leave on the way out.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Hold that thought 1 second. We got Rod J, Beer Ventures said, cheers, fellas.
Cheers, Rod.
Cheers, Rod.
Fun guy. Fun guy.
I had a mushroom once that was a fun guy.
And he probably stiffed you with the bill, didn't he?
But I mean, am I wrong in that?
No, you're not. You're not. No, you're not. I mean, look, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I mean, the breweries that, right now, like you said, in the center of town, but it's not just that. It's like the breweries that are, well, first of all, brewing good liquid, right? You got to brew good beer. Okay. So that's it. I mean, there are going to be breweries, and I'm not mentioning it because I'm not even specifically speaking of any particular one specifically, just talking in general.
Right.
There's going to be breweries out there that make mediocre beer, drinkable, but average. It's okay.
Some have lasted decades.
Have lasted decades because they're not around a lot of other breweries. They're in a community that the community is supporting them, and the community loves them. It's a haunt for them. It's their dive bar, one of their
cheers.
It's their cheers.
Yeah.
Right. And they're going there always. And the brew house is small enough that they're not, they don't have this huge inventory of beer that they have to sell. They're selling through what they do produce. Maybe it's just a side hustle for somebody. They have another job, right? And then the people that are employed there, that's their job, but the owners do other things, right? And,
you're looking at your 5 and 10 barrel breweries,
right? Yeah, or some of the 2 barrel, 4 barrel ones. Yeah. Anyway, and that model's fine. That's local beer. That's somebody years ago said zip code beer. Whatever. That's what it is. But you have your big boys that, clearly they get affected one way or another. Their bottom line is getting affected on a regular basis, whether it's cost of raw materials to brew the beer, cost of labor, cost of health insurance, cost of cans, cost of rent, cost of whatever. and most of those guys own their properties anyway, so it's not even that. But they keep going, and I'm talking about your Victories, your Southern Tiers, your Sierra Nevadas, stuff like that. It's the middle ones that, for all intents and purposes, you hear that are most affected by this.
Right.
And certainly not only affected by this, but most affected by this. But it, like you said, Al, to your point, if you have a brewery that you're brewing, no matter how big your brew house is, and you're brewing really good, solid liquid, and you are in a location where you have another 3 or 4 or 5 breweries within a 2 or 3 or 4 mile area around you, you're going to be busier than the other breweries because you're a destination. Sure. You're a destination.
Right. So you're going to have somebody come in, drink 2 or 3, move on to the next one.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. Right.
And if you couple that with being in a town as opposed to an industrial park 10 miles outside of town, right? You're going to be busy from that as well.
Sure.
So there's a couple of ways to look at it based on what you were saying. But it's a shame that everything's, that there's a lot more of these breweries going through it. I obviously didn't know about the Torch and Crown thing since you just brought it up. Did know about the Bronx thing.
The Torch and Crown thing just broke over the last 2 days. I mean, this was like literally over the weekend, and then here, finding out they were let go with no notice. Which and I know John Dantzler personally, the owner of the co-owner of Torch and Crown. Good guy. We actually just had a texting conversation. 2 weeks ago, I was at the place having dinner with friends and drinking beer. We were on our way to a concert, and he just had his second child, and we were just kibitzing back and forth. No idea that this was coming. And I know, Samurai, you're going to their Oktoberfest thing in Union Square, which, listen, it's a great event. It's going to be a lot of fun. They do a phenomenal job. But it's one of those things where I hope that, they took a big risk in opening in Manhattan. I mean, we're not talking about, some little tiny place in the middle of nowhere. We're talking about the heart of Manhattan where they're delivering beer. If you're anywhere in lower Manhattan, they will deliver beer to you in an hour. I mean, all you have to do is a couple clicks, boom, they got a guy bringing beer to you, and they'll deliver anywhere in the 5 boroughs by the end of the day. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive, absolutely.
The food is good. Their stuff is really good, but I feel like, you're dealing with Manhattan real estate prices.
Right.
And Brooklyn and other places are, as expensive. But you're dealing with Manhattan real estate prices, and I don't think they own the building. Yeah,
speculate that for a second. Speculate with me for a second, because you don't know, or maybe you do. I don't know, but I'm assuming you don't, because it just broke in the last couple of days and you haven't talked to him. But could it be, and I'm just like spitballing.
I know where you're going here.
Could it be, like you said, the cash flow problem? Now, it could be a cash flow problem, but it seems that they do a decent business, and they have good beer. They have good
always
food.
Crowded there, yeah.
Always crowded. They're catering to their clientele out, like they'll deliver beer in that area for an hour within the end of the day in the 5 boroughs, whatever. Could it be that the cash flow problem is stemming from the rent?
Oh, 100%. It has to be. It can't be from anything else.
Not that it's not.
No,
I mean, cost of raw materials are going up.
Just a sudden increase.
Right.
Is
right.
What John's getting.
And their choices are shift gears and figure out a way to save that other money and pay the higher rent or move.
No, but you're talking about grain, aluminum, hops, all of these different things. If you're going to pay, again, I don't know, their business or whatever, but speculating and spitballing here, if you're paying X amount of dollars for all of this stuff and then having to pay 6 employees to help you do that stuff, when you can pay just one price and save yourself, all that cost, and the person, whomever is making the beer, again, we don't know who's going to be making it, is going to get it to close to your specifications that you want it to be, then I could see that you're cutting a corner in order to maintain the rent.
Right.
I mean, remember, they were trying to open in the midst of the pandemic, and they had significant delays for well over a year and a half before they could get that building open. Yeah. So I guarantee you they were way in the red before they even opened the door to their first customers. And so, to try and make back that, paying that nut for over a year and a half, which had to be astronomical, that's a tough sell. And they tried to do it as best as they could for, this amount of time. But, I could see where, hey, we need the business to survive. So this is what we need to do in order to do that for now. But I kind of think it's Manhattan. It's a different nut than, say, Jersey. I hope that nothing's going to happen and they go out of, they have to close up shop, but doesn't look good.
Well, let's also, another thing to look at, and this is obviously not what's happening with Torch and Crown, but would be some of these other ones that have closed. Let's face it, a lot of brewery owners aren't really hard-nosed businessmen.
No.
So a lot of these cash flow problems are cash management issues.
Correct.
Right.
John is a business guy who owns Torch and Crown.
Yeah.
So he knows, he worked on Wall Street. He knows his stuff. So I would tend to believe in him and think, this is his best path forward to sustain the business and keep it going. As much as it hurts that you're letting people go,
right?
But I have a feeling that he's going to, stay the course and whatever. And I'm sure that they have investors, and investors are looking for their, what's going on here? Why is this going down and this and that? Because I don't know of many breweries that open independently that have, a tremendous amount of cash to just throw away and do.
Yeah, I don't either.
That'd be a none, probably.
No. So I'm just saying that I think from a business sense, he knows the direction the company's going. I do, Samurai, agree to your point that most of these guys that open up breweries don't really have a good business sense, in the sense of, well, I've gotten all this money, I'm just going to buy all the toys that I want and not think of all the other things that I need to worry about, overhead and supplies, and what if this goes up and that goes down, and what if a pipe breaks and I get water in my brewery, or something happens or whatever. They're not anticipating those things, and they're not budgeting out properly what they need. So I think you're right. I think a lot of these guys are not good budget people and good business people.
Yeah, because as craft beer nerds, we see a brewery go under, we shed a tear, and one of our first reactions is, either the rent went up, or this cost went up, or this went up, and we want to give them the benefit of the doubt and not believe that. They just kind of shot themselves in the foot sometimes, and we've seen it happen. Not naming names, but we have seen it happen.
To that point, look what happened with Backward Flag. Everyone said, hey, Tori made great beer, good stuff, whatever. She couldn't keep a brewer consistent because her brewer was deployed. I mean, of no fault of his own, right? I mean, that's not, obviously he's serving our country. That's a great thing. But if you don't have your brewer and you don't have a backup of beer, that's not good. And she had no social media presence. You didn't know when it was open, when it was closed, what was going on. It's a number of different things that caused them to close. The location where they were at, you had to want to go there. It wasn't in a main town area. From a business perspective, if you're not posting on social media 3, 6, 8 times a day, I was talking with the guys from Autodidact last week about that. They're understanding that, hey, to get people in, we have to be posting stuff constantly on Instagram, even if it's the simple act of pouring a beer and telling you, hey, look at what we have and whatever. You're just trying to capture eyes to say, oh, look, that looks good. I'm going to go and
But what's interesting, there's so many touch points that will make a brewery successful. When you talk social media, the liquid's big.
Right.
A good business sense is part of that. And you can get away with not having one as long as you got some of the others. Like, exactly. Look at Kane. There's no social media presence.
No.
It's just great liquid and amazing business sense.
But he has a reputation, though. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The reputation was built on Belgian beers. It wasn't even on IPAs.
And he barely makes them anymore.
Right? No, but think about it.
Yeah.
He started, when I interviewed him on the Beer Cast 7 years ago, he was making primarily Belgians. I think he had one IPA, and I think at that it was a West Coast, and it was barely that. Like, he did it because curmudgeonly, like, well,
it's even longer than that. It's even longer than that.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it was like he felt like he had to do one in order to differentiate between all the other Belgian beers that he was making, right? And then all of a sudden, the Hazy Juicy craze came. He made one in Head High. It was successful. He made a couple more. It took off.
Successful is an understatement.
But I'm just saying. But it's the one that's on tap.
When you brew 100 barrels at a clip,
yeah, right,
and you're not distributing. You're distributing beyond New Jersey, but not that far beyond New Jersey.
No, right.
It's the beer. You walk into almost any bar that has any craft handle, it's got a Cane Head High handle. Well, it's got a Cane handle because it's only one handle. I would say 95% of the places in New Jersey that carry Cane Head High. There's Paragon might be the only one that carries variations of different Cane beers. I've never seen it in any other place. Everyone is, we got Head High.
Cloverleaf's another one that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
But it's to illustrate. As you can see, I'm wearing my Stone Pony shirt that I got this weekend. Alan and I were both in Asbury Park.
That's true. But I sat on the outside. It was actually smart.
Yeah, actually, that was a smart thing. Man, it was crowded as anything there. But we walked through the convention center and what used to be Anchor Bar, is now what, Seahorse, I think it's called?
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. And
I'm trying to get one of our beers in there.
Which was there? It's named after a condom, right?
Yeah, that's the
one. Trojan Seahorse.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. You know what? Don't get it on tap there. Get it in cans. I don't think they clean their taps.
No, he's right. He's right.
No, seriously, because I had a cane. There, and I was, it was one of those. Yeah,
yeah.
I do it today. Yeah, I definitely. I'm somebody that'll go and not to switch this conversation to me, whatever. I'm somebody that I'll wherever we're having.
And now here comes the picture.
Here's my press release.
He's wearing the advertisements on his head.
There you go. No. No,
it's not about me.
No, just for this conversation, I'm saying, I try to get anywhere we tap a beer that's new, right? That we haven't been on tap there before. I go there, and I have a pour. I buy a pour. Like I'll sit there. I'll go there for lunch, right? But I'll have a beer, and so I'm patronizing the place, right? And I'm helping move my beer, so to speak. But I try it, and that's one. The main reason is to, show my thankful and appreciation that they're putting us on tap, kind of thing. And I'm like, I got to eat lunch anyway. Why not there, right? That kind of a thing.
Right.
But in any event, I want to, it's my way of, seeing that the lines are, okay. Well, I know what the beer tastes like. Does it taste the same in my glass? Right. So, and there's been a couple of times where I had to, hey, you know what? What are we looking at here?
But the reason I brought the place up was because I peered in because they used to have some craft on, and it was one of the places in Asbury that I could go sit down and have a boat beer because I've been known to enjoy a boat every now and then.
You know,
yeah. And I peered in, only one craft handle, cane head high.
Huh.
That was it.
Same.
Everything else was crafty. So to the point that they're everywhere. Cane's everywhere.
Cane is everywhere.
But back to where we got from here is we were talking about the many points that will make a brewery successful. And you don't have to hit all of them.
Right.
As long as you're very strong as some of the other ones.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
You know what? A perfect example, Treehouse, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a ton of social media presence. They post stuff on X. They post stuff
they
on
don't
Facebook.
have to.
No,
Exactly.
No, they don't. But here's Julius is out or Juice Machine or whatever it is, and blah blah blah. Or today it's our coffee, whatever. But
that's a good name for a beer. Our coffee, whatever. Or coffee, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be a great name for a beer.
Well, no, but that's usually it's not a beer. It's one of their cold coffee brews that they're
right. No,
they're putting out.
Yeah.
But they have a reputation and make money hand over fist, and they have 62 satellite operations. Now you can pull into a mall in Boston and pick up beer. You can order it, pull right into the mall parking lot, and pick it up. I mean, that's brilliant. Could you imagine if they did that here? Oh, wait a minute. There's no malls left in New Jersey. I forgot.
Yeah. And you can't do that anyway.
Right. Exactly.
Even if there were, you couldn't do that anyway.
Right. So I'm on my second beer. Little Departed Souls.
Marsh Attacks. It's an N.
Mars
Attacks. Yeah. I got it.
This is
look like an H. Really
gluten free. It's actually gluten-free Marzen. It's from Departed. Very tasty. In my now defunct Ross, which it never opened in Red Bank glass. So
no, it didn't.
Yeah.
Wait, is the glass defunct or no?
No,
so that's as much of a collector's item as my Turtle Stone glass.
There you go.
Another place that never opened.
Yeah, they were supposed to open in a firehouse and then it never happened. So oh
well. Which we call it? The last time, and I was thinking about this because I only had it a couple times, but I can tell you definitely the last time that I had Turtle Stone beer. Do you remember, Dave? Do you remember when we were at? Oh, it was probably 13, 14 years ago.
You talk about Wayne.
Wayne.
That's the only time they poured their beer.
I had it up north. Because I had it before that. But that was the last time that I had
it. It was the very first ever New Jersey tap takeover. at Wayne Tap and Grill.
Tap House and Grill, yeah.
Tap House and Grill. And they were there. That's actually where I got the glass. That's also the first place that that Bob Olson ever poured his beer. He didn't have
before the fire.
Before the fire. And they had to pull it off because they found out he wasn't licensed at the time.
Oh God!
So I managed to have two Bolero Snorts before they were allowed to even serve beer anywhere. And I think it might be no, it's not the first time I met Rick, but that was a great event. The only thing that sucked about that event, you had to go outside if you wanted to use your cell phone because the Wayne Tap House and Grill, the bar was completely encased in brick.
Yeah,
you couldn't get a signal out of that place. But yeah, that's where we're. The only place I ever had Turtlestown. I think it's the only place they ever poured north of Route 70.
Wow.
There you go. So what do you?
And I became the rep for one of the breweries down south near Atlantic City. Because Tuckahoe. I became the rep for Tuckahoe because they wound up leaving. They was at our table talking to me and my friend.
He became the rep that night for the rest of the night.
Just for that night. Yeah. And they left me all the swag to hand out. That was a lot of fun.
We're out of here. We got to go home.
Yeah. Well, they had like a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, it's a long ride. What did you? Would you open your second?
Yeah. Another Tavour, another one that John has. That if we would probably be drinking the same beers had he not been in jury duty. This is a Wayfinder, and if anybody watches this show, they know that John and I are both big fans of Wayfinder. And this is Secret. I love the can art on this. Czech style dark. Now, normally, if I'm drinking a flavored dark mild, I'm not going to drink that before Czech dark. But this one in particular, I'm like, no, I have to drink this one after. This one has got roasts that linger. So if I had drank this prior to the dark mild, I wouldn't.
You would have been still tasting that beer.
Oh yeah, yeah. So these crackers are going to come in quite
easy now. That could be racist.
You know that term came from the Florida ranches, right?
Yes.
And you know that Florida has the largest cattle ranch in the country. It's not actually in Texas. It's in Florida.
I know that. I did know that.
That is one of the strangest factoids of this country.
There's a lot of strange factoids in this country.
Well, we're a strange country.
There's a lot of strange. Yeah, there's a lot of strange insert word here in place of factoids.
I can't wait to get on the air tomorrow and talk about all the great things that happened in New York City today. Another guy has left. Not we're going to talk politics, but another guy has left Mayor Adams' inner circle. So he's retiring.
This is the new one today, not the one from yesterday.
No, this is a new one today. The commissioner of the board of ed is stepping down at the end of the year. Mr. Banks, yes, he's going. So
they're leaving as quickly as.
I didn't know Carl Banks was the commissioner of the board of ed.
He's a pretty smart guy. So.
Yeah, and he makes a hell of a barbecue sauce.
There he does.
And he makes some great apparel, too.
This is true.
So he's losing people as much as that guy running for office in North Carolina, then.
Oh, yeah, that's I mean, good Lord.
Anyway,
that's a totally different situation.
Before we get too deep into some of this stuff, let's move on.
I'm not that guy. Okay. Who posts on those sites anyway? And I mean, that's all right. That's
well, John and I have a friend that we'll have to ask.
Yeah,
this is the same thing as RFK going. RFK Jr. saying he was blocking and then unblocking to see what it was. No. When you block somebody, that's it. You don't.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh no. You know,
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Doesn't work that way. Exactly.
So, John, you poured your second. What do you got there?
I did. I have from Illinois.
Illinois.
Illinois, yeah, St. Charles, Illinois. It's from Riverlands Brewing, Stolba Dark. It's a dark Czech dark lager.
So we're both drinking.
There you go.
I need to ask the dumb question here because I don't do Tavour. So
don't ever do it. It gets addictive.
No. I don't. Well, you know what?
You should actually. You should.
No. But you know what the problem is?
Misery loves company. Come on.
No. Here's the problem.
I love everything about Tavour.
You can only go to the app to see what they have. They don't have a static website where you could look, which I don't like.
But you can get
because it's fluid. It's fluid. Right. No pun intended. It's fluid.
I understand that.
Because they only get a certain amount of they may only
from each brewery.
Right, they may only get 2 or 3 cases of something.
It's like
so that means they only have 48 to 72 cans.
But, all right, so let me ask you.
And within most of the more popular styles and popular breweries and things that move faster, they could launch a beer on the app, and it's gone in 20 minutes.
You log in. By the time you log
in, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like what.
But you can get push notifications. So if you see the push notification, you go right to it.
It's like trying to get Troon beer.
Not as hard
in some ways.
Not as hard, but similar.
It's like what Woot used to be.
Oh, okay, all right,
along those lines.
Yes, and I got a couple of those bottles.
Except it's and not Woot Stout. Woot.com.
But let me ask the both of you. On average, what do you spend a month?
Hold on,
because I know there's a shipping fee and all
that.
I got. People will pile up their stuff to make the shipping fee worthwhile.
The one, two,
we're not supposed to,
right here. Too much.
Yeah, we're not supposed to math. One, we're not supposed to math on the show.
I know.
2, John does spend too much. He talks about how much he gets off of Tavour. I've actually cut myself off Tavour for a little while. I've got. Look at all this. Look at all this stuff here.
That's all from Tavour.
Well, not the second case down.
No, the bottom case, that's a bunch of boat.
Right.
Because I'm getting close to 1,000 check-ins on boat.
You better not let that gentleman see what you're doing with the boat there.
He sells it this way. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, okay.
He will sell it warm. With the boat with the boat 12s, he'll sell it warm. Because I am one of those that will out a friggin' liquor store that puts his beer on shelves.
Okay.
I will text him straight up.
Okay.
Say, dude, this is where I am. And he's like, okay, they're done. The second is I'm also disrespecting someone who's wearing teal right now's beer, because that's a whole bunch of what is that?
Building sandcastles.
Yes, it is. And above that, there's also more of his beer in there, but there's also some more Tavour beer in there. And actually, most of what's on this shelf is Tavour beer on these 2 shelves. So you can see that
here I got about 8. I got
So I do spend a bunch.
Too much. I got another crate coming at the end of this week too.
I've got a lot to drink, so I've got more self-control than John does on Tavour.
Right. Because so for my wallet's sake, I'll just stay off of that.
But see, because John has his push notifications active. The trick is you got to turn them off because otherwise, like, oh my God, Wayfinder just put out a dark mild. I need that. And he's on there. He just fills his.
But in my defense, when I do see that dark mild that Wayfinder put out, I will click 1.
And then
he will click 2 or 3.
2 or 4. Never 3.
2 or 4, yeah.
Because 3 is the magic number. Remember that.
Right.
And I want no magic. Actually, magic would probably help get it to you.
I get 1. If there's something like it's say like for instance like Coonan Brewing in Michigan, they do a barrel aged old ale. Now anybody listening to the show, anybody long time listener to the show knows that's one of my favorite styles is an old ale, English old ale. A barrel aged English old ale. I buy at least 2 of those. So that's up there. But for all intents and purposes, it's always just 1. And some of the time I will regret only getting 1, but it's a brief. It's one of 30 beers, right? But it's a brief regret because there's other beer I need to drink.
Okay,
I don't need to keep drinking that one.
I got 4 of these. I'm not regretting this.
I got 1 of those.
That's fair.
It's Wayfinder. Yeah. So John and I have the same number of things in our crate,
right?
But he'll have 30 different types of beer.
Right. You'll have 7 or 8.
Yeah. See. I just reduced the size of my beer fridge considerably over the summer with all the concerts and tailgating and whatever. And within the last 2 weeks, it's almost filled back up again.
Well, you're definitely gonna have to put some of the next beer that Dave and I are drinking in it.
Oh yes, you'll see. Right. Speaking of, what was your favorite concert this year so far?
Wow.
Because you've got a few more coming up, don't you?
Yeah, well, I have Tedeschi Trucks on Friday in Brooklyn at King's Theater, which I'm excited because I've never seen them, and my buddy has seen them.
I always confuse them with Teskey Brothers, but at any rate,
let's say, and I'm going to the Doobies next week at PNC, Doobie Brothers and Steve Winwood.
Right.
But
what day is that?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Yeah,
it's Wednesday.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going.
No. And I have Thursday and Friday.
We can move both shows to Thursday. And
I was supposed to be in Vegas. I was supposed to be in Vegas next week to see Sammy Hagar again for his birthday party bash, but I couldn't get a cheap enough flight, so I sold the Sammy tickets, made quite a bit of money on them, and canceled my room, and actually sold my tickets back, made my money back, plus 300. So to me, that's a win. But probably the best show that I've seen this summer has got to be the Sammy Hagar All Worlds Tour.
Really?
It was honestly, if you're into Van Halen, if you love, Sammy, solo, Montrose, all that type of stuff, it was an absolute time warp. Like every single song that he played, first off, the crowd at PNC was bananas. It was as packed as I'd ever seen it. And everybody was singing along. And Satriani was nailing the Eddie Van Halen stuff. I mean, really? Just absolutely nailing it. John Bonham was great. Michael Anthony sang, I think it was 3 or 4 different David Lee Roth era songs. They did Panama. I'm telling you, it was absolutely the show to see. And every night, like Sammy was saying, every night when I thought, well, this is the best show. No. The next night, this was the best show. They're just finishing up in Japan, and the crowds were unbelievable. They took Eddie Trunk with them. I mean, it definitely.
They took Eddie Trunk for laughs, sir. I mean,
no. I guess they took him. They invited him or whatever, and he's been chronicling their trip throughout Japan on the bullet train and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool.
He used to come in at 381.
But yeah, it got to be the show of the year for me so far. Just phenomenal.
I wanted to go to that show, and I'm pissed off that I didn't. I really am. I didn't see Al. You go to a lot of PNC shows. But I go to a few at least every year. Yeah. I didn't go to one this year. I did not. I was not at PNC once.
The one show I went to this.
Not once.
The one show that I went to this year.
Next week. Right.
It was the one show I would have put money on that Al was going to be at.
Oh, Santana and Counting Crows.
Holy! Learn one thing: Counting Crows is kind of boring in concert.
He talks too much. Play the songs for God's sakes.
But even when
I don't care that you went out with Jennifer Aniston and you broke up and you grew your dreads and you got a love song for her. Who cares? Play it.
Yeah, and even when they're playing, they were boring. But
actually, I wouldn't mind hearing about that.
But they don't do Mr. Jones anymore either.
No, he did Mr. Jones.
Did he? Are you sure? Because the last tour he didn't do it.
I'm pretty certain I've even got it on film. I'll have to send it to you.
Okay. Then maybe he changed that.
That's pirating.
But when
you can't send it to him. You show it to him. You can't send it to him.
Okay. Oh, wait. You want to laugh? You want to laugh even better? After that Sammy show, I ran into a former ECW wrestler, the Blue Meanie.
Oh, jeez.
We go back 20 years because I used to do a wrestling show, and we were hugging and talking or whatever, catching up or whatever. The next day he sends me a message. He goes, "I got the show if you want it." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "My buddy records every show at PNC right off of the soundboard."
Oh, wow.
He sends me a link. Wow. Being right there at the show. I was like, yes.
That's cool.
We'll talk later.
Right. But I'll say when Santana took the stage.
Oh yeah.
I could have.
Where'd he take it?
He took it for a spin around the block. We went with him, and my God, I tell you, I usually don't dance. My legs and feet were sore at the end of that show. I tell you, you could not move.
Worked off a couple of beers. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I had more than a couple of beers.
All right, well, no judging.
Well, you definitely had your parking lot tailgating philosophile. I know that.
Yes, I did have that. And that turned that into like the tradition for the year. If you had to philosophile, you had to drink into the parking lot because the next one to drink it in that parking lot, I believe, was Al Gattullo.
That's true. And
the last two nights after that, I think.
The last couple that I've had at tailgating in the parking lot. Speaking of which, Aspire Brewing, which I have the guys on this week on the program. These guys are in Middletown, New York. They're in the town of Wallkill.
Right.
They have a 30,000 square foot facility, and apparently the guys who own it.
Why?
Wait, listen to this. So the guys who own it.
Do you have a football field in there?
No, listen. The guys who own it own a number of. They have the capital. They own a number of liquor stores in that area of New York, right? So
got a number.
I think I'm honestly, I think these are the guys that own Halftime Liquors. I think. I'm not 100% certain on that.
That would make sense then.
That would.
So they took over a mall, basically the Middletown Mall. They converted it into a brewing, eatery, self-pour taps, plus somebody behind the bar to pour as well. They have food, an entire menu. They have cornhole. They have hatchet throwing. They have a golf simulator.
I love when you combine alcohol with
sports TV, games, this and that. Indoor, outdoor. They have garage doors that open. You can sit outside. The whole thing. It's like a one-stop, for the entire town. And I have to tell you, the guy who sent me the beer, he's running the place, the GM. He sent me 2 of everything, and I've been slowly working my way through it. They did a couple of summer ales with these oranges from upstate New York. Phenomenal. They did a collab with Carton. They did a collab with Autodidact. They're doing collabs with a bunch of different breweries. I'll tell you, really good stuff. Very impressed.
It's the owners of Beer World.
That's it.
It's Beer World.
That's it.
There you go.
Thank you, Google.
Now, I was going to say, did you just think of that, or did you actually love it?
I've got fast fingers on the keyboard.
You do. Not fat fingers. We know them.
No,
I've got fat fingers on the phone.
I got fat fingers.
Yeah.
Look at those sausages.
But I had a bunch of those in the parking lot at tailgating. And
sausages?
In fact,
no, that's me.
In fact, when I was at ELO Friday night in Philly,
I wish I'd gone. Talk about pirating. You put nearly half that damn show up on Facebook.
I did. Well, there was a lot of, you know what happened? I mean, listen, I couldn't really fit in the seat. So when they built the first Union Center, they didn't build it for, wider people.
First big guys, yeah.
Yeah, so, you're going to, squeeze it in the seat, and we're with a couple that, easily fit in the seat without a problem.
Yeah.
And my wife and I are both looking at one another and going, this is gonna be a rough night. And so I whipped the phone out because I was like, I have to record some stuff because I'm going to be sitting here, wedged into this seat. I might as well keep a record of what's going on. But here's the only problem I have with ELO. You should go see them if you're watching this and they're playing in your town in the next month or two or whatever. You should go see them. But Jeff Lynne looks every bit of 80 years old. His voice is not as sharp as it was a couple of years ago. He's not playing lead guitar. The band is basically playing around him, and he's barely strumming the guitar while he's playing. Yeah, so I'm happy that they're saying that this is the last one.
I was a massive ELO fan as a kid. So me not seeing a show since the Time Tour, the reason for that is because the way he treated the rest of the band.
Right.
But watching Facebook and some things up on Facebook, watching some of the songs that they played, they did deep cuts into their discography.
Mm-hmm.
I was really impressed, and now I should have gone.
But honestly, a tight set. Like somebody told me they went to the Garden the second night. They sold out the first night. They went to the Garden the second night. There was plenty of seats available. A buddy of mine said he got seats in the 100s for about $125, which is not bad at Madison Square Garden. I didn't want to give Dolan my money. That's why I went to Philly. Yeah. It was cheaper.
I was going to go to DC to see them.
But it was a tight 90-minute set. Like literally, like 2 minutes after 9, they were on, and by 10:30 they were off.
He's got to take his Geritol and get to bed.
Yeah. I mean, they were on a tight schedule. So.
I wouldn't have minded going to that one, but I saw this year. I saw. Who did I say?
No, well, you're thinking. I was talking to someone. I think it was in their 30s at work, and they're kind of really into like music of our era. And he started lamenting. He said, the problem is with all these bands, and I love all these bands that you guys grew up with. By the time I'm making enough to be able to afford seats to these concerts, they're all going to be dead.
Yeah.
This is not going to be around anymore.
Right.
And I would love to see these guys, but I'm not. I think he was in his 20s. It's like I just can't afford to go see these shows.
Yeah. Well, because the problem is now this is how they're making their money. Is ticket sales. Mm-hmm. It's not records anymore. It's not.
Nobody's buying records anymore.
No royalties anymore because a lot of it is now public domain.
Correct. So they make their money on their shows, and they sell top dollar. Here's the other one. So Hart had to cancel a whole slew of shows because Ann Wilson had cancer and she had to get treatment or whatever. And now they've restarted it up next year. They're going to finish out the tour or whatever. They were originally booked for the Garden. They're now booked for Radio City because the Garden is a 20,000 seat arena. And when I looked months ago for tickets at Madison Square Garden, barely half of the place was sold. So you're talking about, Radio City, 5,000-6,000 seats, 8,000 seats. Mm-hmm. That's why they're gonna do.
I got to be honest with you though. I've seen many concerts at Madison Square Garden. I've seen a bunch of concerts at Radio City. I'd rather see a concert at Radio City at Madison Square Garden.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
But because of the limited number of seats, the prices are going to go up.
Right. Well, I'm taking a shot tomorrow because my wife wants to see it. So I'm like, all right.
I've seen Hart twice. I saw him in '88 and I saw him in 2016.
Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times. My wife has never seen them. She was supposed to come the last time, and what happened? I can't remember. It was raining, and something else. I don't remember what it was. It was raining, and it was too hot or humid. And
volcano?
Like, whatever. What's that?
Volcano?
Meteor strike.
Meteor strike. That's it.
Meteor. I saw 2 concerts this year.
Okay. Bare Naked Ladies.
Of course.
Bare Naked Ladies.
Because you have to.
Because I have to.
The boss has said so.
They're good though. I mean, they're great musicians.
And you're the beer guy.
Yeah, they're not the same. They're not the same without Stephen Page. I'm sorry.
They're not. They're not the same band without Stephen Page. They're still good.
Oh yeah, but it's a different dynamic. Ed Robinson, I like him as a singer, but I always liked Stephen Page better. So. Well,
you're pretty less. But Al, you know the story, right? I've told you the story. When 2014.
Yeah. Yep.
And then saw him years later.
The show that I worked on way back in the 90s.
No, going there.
Ladies, the show that I worked on in the early 90s, we broke Bare Naked Ladies in New York.
Right,
so
right.
I go back to 92 when the band their first album came out in Gordon.
Gordon, yeah. And the other concert I saw that was at Citi Field. I saw Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah. Oh, the shortened show or the
shortened show? Yes. Yes. I saw the shortened show. Yes, not the one that Allison saw on Friday night.
Right.
I saw the one on Wednesday.
She went back. I think
she went on Friday. No, she went Friday.
No, but I thought she went the. Oh no! It's somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, she was. It was Mammoth opened, and it was Wolfie and
Mammoth. I saw Mammoth at Starland. They were great.
They were great. They were great. And the Pretenders too, which was weird. I thought the Pretenders, which I loved seeing the Pretenders. Don't get me wrong, but sandwiched in between Mammoth and Foo Fighters was kind of weird.
That is weird.
But then my third beer. This is brand new. The guys gave this to me from Autodidact last week, but it's out today. This is Autodidact and Twin Elephant collab. Mm-hmm. This is now I have to see. Now I'm old. I have to put my glasses on because I can't see it.
I'll be doing that later.
I can't.
It's the youngest of the three, youngest on the show right now, but he's too old.
Yeah.
Like
a Ritual. It's a New England IPA at 6%. It's got Amarillo, Motueka, Citra, aroma hops, conditioned on yuzu fruit, and the lemon is shining right through. It's fantastic. Looks great.
Nice.
Well, I got my third one poured.
Hold on, let me pour my third before you put yours up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, because I still got like a sip of my second one, so just give me a second.
Waiting for John again.
Well, the guy he gave me Ron gave me a mixed 4-pack, and he gave me one can of this, and he said, "Oh, it's not out yet." And I said, "Well, then I'm not gonna drink it until next week." So, and they just posted it today, so I'm safe.
So you're safe. There you go.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing. I like that.
Well, I have an overpour. Wow, I fucked that one up good. I haven't overpoured like this in a while.
See, and now I'm
not going to show the beer. I'm not going to show the can yet, but
look at that glass. I am triggered though. I just saw a thing on Facebook for Esker Hart, and they said this week is Fat Bear Week. Now I would take offense to that because I'm fat, and I could be cuddly like a bear. But
are you? But isn't
Speaking of that, quick plug. Esker Hart will be on the show next week.
They will. But aren't bears just like the big gay guys, the big burly hairy gay guys?
Yes,
bear. Yeah, that's a bear.
Yeah. So
this has to do with the laughter.
Oh, that fat bear.
That fat bear.
Oh, I love that. He's still out there, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's built like a block, like what we call the mafia blocks in Jersey.
Right. So, all right. So, why don't we show what our? Oh, by the way, this is the beer that you got to get in your fridge soon, Al. There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Go for it, Dave.
Boing.
Yeah, the ESB.
There you go.
Years.
Poured out, starboard home, or posh, if you will.
Posh.
All right.
Not many people realize that posh is an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
It
is a 5% rye ESB. Great fruity malt, a little bit of caramel, that nice rye spice and the little bit of lingering hops. Dry it out and just really.
What I love about this beer is that the
by the way,
the elements of rye,
proper glassware as well.
Yeah, proper glassware.
Excellent.
The qualities of rye really show in this, and it's still an ESB. So but in ESB, there's that word bitter, but a true ESB is not so
bitter.
Ridiculously bitter.
Right.
This beer highlights the rye without too much of the rye bite, and it's an ESB, but this is smooth. It's really not all that bitter. This is a very well crafted beer. Kudos to the what's the name of this fucking brewery again?
The Genius.
You mean Shark Boy?
Yeah,
Shark Boy. The one who knows the Latin name to every damn fish in the ocean. And then if you give the real name, the name we all call is colloquially named.
Right.
It's you were in that conversation, weren't you?
Yes.
Brian Boak. It's funny because Brian Boak, I don't know, John, if you followed this. Brian Boak was down on in Hatteras.
I know. So
he shows a fish that he caught, and it's a shark. And at first I thought it was a dogfish. Like, oh no, that's
I read the whole thing.
The adolescent dogfish, and then then your partner comes.
We all got a lesson.
Yeah.
I thought
it gives us the Latin name of that fish, right. And then says, "Oh, it's just entering into adulthood." I'm like, so you mean a juvenile blackfin shark, right?
I have to tell you, this collab, wow! Yeah. I may have to run up there and get a 4-pack of this.
Well, let me say something on that note. I don't know what you're doing, or either of you are doing, or anybody out there. All right, but this Saturday, September 28th, from 1 to 6, at Beach House Brewing, right here in Belmar. There's a beer fest. Now they are a brew pub now, right?
So they can pour whatever the hell they want,
or whatever they want. And there are 10 breweries going to be at there.
Would CBW be one of those?
CBW will be one of them.
Departed Souls will be
another.
Imagine
Autodidact.
That's correct. I'll be there, by the way.
You'll be there, great.
I was already making plan. My wife and I are trying to do a couple of things on Saturday, and I told her one of the places I do want to go to. I wanted to stop there, but I also want to stop at Buder Beer down in New Egypt.
Okay.
Before they close, because they're only open about another month or so.
Right.
And a friend of mine was just there last weekend, and she said, "You know what? Good stuff. You should definitely check it out." So I think we're going to do Beach House first, and then we're going to sneak down that way, and then I think we're going to pick some pumpkins over at Screaming Hill.
I think I've already committed to apple picking, but maybe I can divert the apple picking to Colt's Neck.
There you go. You can do that because there are more than one. There is more than one.
Yeah, apple picking place.
There is one. Yeah, there's one just north of Delicious Orchards.
Yes, there is.
I can't remember the name of it right now.
Starts with an E.
Yeah, right. Not Edge.
East.
I can't remember, but maybe because I was going to go to. We were going to go to one in outside of Newton because they were in one of the final four reader vote.
I was going to say that they were in the final four this year. I don't remember that.
Reader vote of the NJ.com
Gala for 3.
I
Honey Crisp with the Great Pass.
I prefer Empire. So
Empire.
That's my fave. But no, the top NJ.com did like a kind of a bracketology of cider donuts.
Sure.
You can't believe that. You can't believe anything that NJ.
No, you can't.
Well, everything is subscriber based. You can't read the article.
Well, it really depends upon who actually writes the article too.
This is true.
But Jackass Money Under the Table did not write that article, so that's the only reason I read it.
And we will not say who that is, but those of you that know who it is,
we're PG here.
You know who it is. We are only PG here. We are PG here. We will not say anyone's name.
I see what you did there, Al. Cheers.
I tried. Well, I haven't drank that much yet, so.
Yeah. So, what was the name of the dog on the Little Rascals? What was that dog?
Petey.
That's right.
Petey.
What was? Oh, you know what? That's what I was going to tell you before. There was this drugstore I used to go to back in the 80s.
Oh, Genevieve's Drugs.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. They were good. They closed down, didn't they?
Hold on 1 second. I got noise in the background here. Hang on.
Noise in the background.
Noise in the background.
Wasn't that a TV show back in the day? Noise in the background.
I thought it was a boy band from the 90s.
That might have been that too. No, I think it was just noise.
So I might be doing some apple picking rather than
my stupid humidifier, but I thought I shut it off. I probably didn't, but whatever.
Well, the 10 breweries that are going to be there: Coastal Brew Works, Five Dimes will be there, Tom's River, Departed Souls, Autodidact, Ashton,
nice.
Twin Lights, and then Alias Brew Works. They're including as a brewery along with Muckraker and Two Villains. So there's your 10.
And the best part about it is it's a pay as you go.
It's a pay as you go.
So you're not walking in and paying like $40.
You order what you want. You drink
order
what you want.
You pay what you want.
Which floor is it on?
It's on the roof.
It's on the roof.
Oh, they're putting it up on the roof. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Should be fun.
Maybe we can we divert the apple picking to.
It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day, and I will be there.
Oh well, now I'm definitely not going.
Matt will be there.
Oh no! Wait a second. You got some beer of mine that I accidentally gave you.
Yes, I did.
I gave John a lot of beer, and I didn't realize like half my last divorce shipment was in that flat.
It was. I'm like, boy, look at this beer he gave me. Wow, look at that. I like you. All right.
More than I bargained for.
Yeah.
But John was a mention, and he's like,
I don't think you're meant to give me this.
Right.
No, I don't think I meant to give him a can of Barrack.
That was nice. Speaking of beer, quick shameless plug. So tomorrow we are we're canning myself and Tim from Wet Ticket. We're canning our collaboration beer, Too Much Fun, which should be released either if we're not releasing it tomorrow. I think we're releasing it on Friday of this week. It's a 6.2 hazy IPA. Right. It's got Nectaron and Sabro hops. I had a taste off the Bright Tank last week. Fantastic. We put a little New Zealand Theo powder in there as well. Softened it up a little bit. I cannot wait. That it's going to be carbonated and we're going to can it. And we're doing a release party October 11th at Wet Ticket. I am buying pizzas from Nancy's Townhouse Pizza, which is 2 doors down. If you like thin cracker crust pizza, Nancy's is the best. That guy Portnoy rated at 8.8 on.
That guy Portnoy.
Do not get me started on Portnoy.
Right. No, wait. Dave Portnoy or Mike Portnoy, the drummer for Dream Theater?
No, Dave.
Oh, okay,
not Mike.
Making sure. I just had to clarify.
He raised a lot of money. He raised a lot of money for the guy Al Santillo to rebuild his pizza place. I think that's pretty cool.
No, it was.
That's pretty cool, but I still see him as a PG.
So I'm buying the pizzas. You come down and enjoy the beer, and we'll have a good time. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, October 11th.
October 11th. Awesome. Very cool.
I'm not going to be able to make it.
Is 1 block up. So
yeah, I'm going to be. I'm seeing Eddie Izzard at NJ Pack.
Eddie Izzard or
Susie Izzard. And she just put out that prefers Susie, doesn't care if you call him Eddie. Prefers she, doesn't care if you call him he. Goes, call me what you want. You can't be wrong.
Well, there you go.
So, so this is going to be the first time he's been done stand up in a while. I've seen him recently a couple of times. I saw him do a one-man show of Great Expectations and a one-man show of Hamlet.
There you go.
Cool.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Did I tell you, by the way, I went to I got the mail today. And when I opened it up,
here we go.
And was it like 3 weeks that you didn't get the mail?
Brace yourselves, it's coming.
No, I got and through the plethora
get letters.
Through the plethora of bills that I had going in there, I had in the same damn day, I got the water bill and the electric bill, and boy, was I shocked. I gotta say.
There it is. There it is. You got to warn me when you're going to do a dad joke so I can have the app up for the rim shot.
All right, I'll do another one. Get it up.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second there. Oh, it's still on untap. It's still on
untap.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the other day I was laying in bed for like a half an hour, and it dawned on me that I only came upstairs for socks. There you go. I got one more. What do you call a polar bear in the jungle?
What do you call a polar bear in the jungle, John?
Lost.
That doesn't even deserve a
All right, there you go.
That's not even a joke.
I didn't write any of these. I just
but you chose. I chose.
Oh,
you made a conscious decision.
All right. I'm going to tell you why I made a conscious decision for those.
Right.
Those are the best ones of the ones that I saw every morning in the last week.
Well, on that note, how about we do the top threes?
I think that's a good idea. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's top three list is top 3 Star Trek characters we'd want to have a beer with. Top 3 Star Trek characters we'd want to have a beer with. Al?
Now, when you say Star Trek characters, is this every iteration of Star Trek?
Every iteration. Every iteration.
Good. Just making sure. Sure.
There you go.
Any character that has ever appeared on Star Trek.
100%.
Okay. I guess it could be, technically, you could use Mark Twain.
Huh. A little bit of a stretch, but okay.
Well, no, but he's right. I mean,
one of the many times the Enterprise goes back in time.
That's right.
They meet Mark Twain in a cave.
This is true. All right. Al, kick us off.
All right. In no particular order, I have 3, and I have an honorable mention. My first would be Worf, because he's a warrior. He likes to drink blood wine. Why not? He'd be a great guy to have a beer with, right? He'd have great stories.
I like that at your back.
Sing songs. Right. Yeah. So there you go. The second one is the obvious one, Captain James Tiberius Kirk. He probably wants to drink either Romulan ale or Saurian brandy, but he'll indulge it. He actually did drink a Michelob in Star Trek 4. So there you go.
There you go.
My only problem with drinking with Kirk,
right?
Sober, it's all about him.
True.
Imagine him drunk.
Oh, he'd be hitting on every woman in the bar.
Oh,
yeah, without a doubt.
As long as they were green.
Right. That's correct.
Oh no, he never discriminated.
And then my third would be Chief Miles O'Brien, Irish, love to have a good pint at Quark's. I'm sure he'd be a great guy to sit down and have a beer with. And then my honorable mention is this one was a toss-up. It was either Benjamin Sisko or Catherine Janeway, and I went with Sisko because I think Sisko would be sort of the cooler guy to talk to. And Janeway likes coffee. She never really drank beer, so there you go.
I can't disagree with any of those except for Kirk. I don't know. I want to drink with Kirk. You want him in a fight.
Who's this?
Kirk.
I
don't know if I'd want to drink with him. What I did here,
the two-hand chop that he used to do all the time was brilliant.
That's absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. Watch the episode Tomorrow is Yesterday when they go back in time.
Yep.
And they get the F1. When he knocks out Captain Christopher in the transporter room, it's one of the great moves ever. He blocks the phaser, hits him with a punch. There's no one. He's never done that move again. It's brilliant. Brilliant. Like a buddy of mine and I tried to simulate that move. We couldn't do it.
Shot.
So
I think I'd want to drink with Shatner. I'm not sure so much with Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
But what I did is I decided I've also got an honorable mention. So I've got 4 characters I'm going to mention here. But I went with one from each one of the iterations.
Okay.
Prior to Enterprise. Okay, so the original Star Trek. You would think it would be Scotty, but I'm not a big fan of Scotch. So, and that's all he drinks.
Right.
I don't think he even drinks water. I think it's just Scotch all the time.
Right.
Right. Bones. I would want to drink with Bones. And the reason I want to drink with Bones is him and I speak the same language. That's the language of sarcasm. Go to a bar with Bones, sit there at the bar and make fun. Just sit there and make fun of everybody in the goddamn bar.
I like that.
Bones.
And the best part about it is, he's developed a hangover cure.
Well, that's why they developed synthahol.
Hold on. Very good nod to last week's.
Yeah, you saw that. You saw what I did there. Because he's just going to take something and go,
right,
and you're
good. You're good again.
Who did the Star Trek beer though? Was it Schmaltz?
Oh,
it was a brewery that did Star Trek beers, and I think it was Schmaltz. They did a Romulan ale. They did an IPA. I'm telling you because I bought it. I remember I bought it. They had it at Joe Canals. It was definitely Star Trek beer out at one point. Got to be 10 years ago. Easily 10 years ago.
I've got Hopped Up Golden Ale, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Schmaltz. You were correct.
There you go.
100% correct.
Really?
Now,
Schmaltz. Yep.
Moving on to Next Generation. And, Worf is definitely one of those. I did consider Worf. I considered Chief O'Brien as well, because he's going to be a fun guy to drink with.
Right.
But of all the characters in Next Generation, I think the most fun that you would have drinking with someone, even though it's impossible for them to get drunk, but they're going to show you that if this character likes you, they're going to show you everything. You're going to have a blast. If they're trying to impress you the way he always tried to impress his Capitan, Q. Because you can drink anywhere, anywhen, and anything.
Okay.
Bring it up, he's going to bring you there.
Right.
Because he had this need. He needed that validation. He wanted to be seen as amazing.
Right.
You challenge him, and you're going to have the time of your life with Q. Right. So I would want to drink with Q. Deep Space Nine, I had to think about a lot. I mean, because you've got Dax, and so with Dax, you've got visually, that's an amazing thing to look at. But if Curzan's being channeled, you've got some great stories. Like, no, I want to drink with Garak.
Oh,
Garak, you are going to wind up places that you never knew existed. Get into places that no one else can get into. Mm-hmm. You might wind up in some deep prison hole of a planet you've never heard of, but it's going to be fucking worth it.
The most fascinating character of that entire series, and Andrew Robinson played him brilliantly.
Oh, he was brilliant. I mean, and it's funny because the two Cardassians, not Kardashians, don't get crazy.
The Cardassians.
Right. I think were two of the most complex characters of that whole series. Him and Gul Dukat. And Garak. Yeah. I love both those, but Garak's the one I want to drink with.
Yep.
I think that would be a blast. My honorable mention is going to be from Voyager, because Voyager was not necessarily one of my favorite series. Really enjoyed it, and Janeway really did come to mind. Really did. But I've got to go with Neelix. For two reasons. One, everyone turns to him. You get all the gossip on the ship from him.
Right.
You get him drunk, he's spilling everything.
Right.
Secondly, the food.
You want to drink a Talaxian beer.
Yeah, you get that, but also the food.
Yeah, that's true.
The hamster man can cook. Right. So those are mine.
Right. You realize there are beer people right now who may or may not be watching or listening to this going, guys, it's a TV show. You understand that, right? Okay. Just,
Well, we did Star Wars very early on.
Right.
So we have to get. I was like, we're gonna have Along on again. We got to give Star Trek its due. We got to give Star Trek its equal playtime.
Okay.
It's equal airtime. And I just got and just a couple of weeks ago, Karen, I just got done going through Picard, which is really just a combination of a couple of the series anyway. Right. You got Voyager, Next Generation, and a little bit of DS9 in there too, because Worf is on DS9.
Right. There you go. Yeah. All right. I'm all old Star Trek. I'm all first.
And
all right,
you respect that.
All right. Little weird. I'm not okay. I have an honorable mention that's not old Star Trek. I have an honorable mention that's from one of the Star Trek movies.
Okay.
But again, old Star Trek. Right.
Okay.
The reboot.
The reboot. Right. So, but 2 are weird, 2 are not so weird. But I'll give you my reasoning. All right, here we go. My number 3, Baylock.
Oh,
okay.
So you don't want the Tranya
from Carbonite Maneuver. I don't want the Tranya. He can drink the Tranya. I'm having a beer.
Okay.
I imagine Tranya may have tasted like Malort.
Well, do you know what it was?
Orange
they were
juice.
drinking?
Orange juice.
Pink grapefruit juice. They were drinking.
Oh, that's what it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was orange juice. Okay.
Yeah, they were drinking pink grapefruit juice. They were drinking.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was the Tranya. And anybody that doesn't know who this is, the character was played by a very young at the time Clint Howard.
Ron Howard's little brother.
Ron Howard's little brother. Exactly. And
also,
of course, I don't want to drink with a 5-year-old either. I want to, I'll drink with Clint Howard older, and I wouldn't mind his brother coming along either. So
sure,
that'd be cool.
And ask him about Chuck. Where'd Chuck go?
Where did Chuck go? All right, I'll just get. Where the fuck did Chuck go?
Where the fuck is coming in?
All right, and he wasn't even in every episode either of the first.
And he just.
But they never referred to him again. He's gone. Never. By the way, this is Happy Days, not Star Trek. By the way,
yeah.
Talk about Richie. We're not talking about Opie.
Not Opie, not Richie. Right. So there you go. But by the way, did you see the Emmys?
No, I didn't watch them. No.
Would they were bringing people out of it? They had the set of they brought out Ron Howard and Henry Winkler came.
Oh, I saw that. I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a set of Arnold's.
Yeah, I did see.
And whatchamacallit, they didn't have any music for them coming out. It was like silent. And everybody else they brought out for like this recreation or anything else that they did, they had music, but they didn't have any music. And they were going back and forth for a couple minutes, and then Ron Howard says, Henry, you could fix this. And he says, no, I can't. I need training, everything else. He walked over, boom, hits the jukebox, and starts playing Happy Days.
That's cool.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. Nice.
So anyway, so Baylock's number 1. Number 3, rather. Number 2, Scotty. I do like Scotch.
Because you like Scotch.
I like Scotch. There you go. And Scotty's definitely going to be fun because he's going to be as Scotty as he is sober. He's going to be more Scotty.
Which means you're going to hear about every in and out of every engineering portion of that ship.
And I want to know that. I want to know that.
Oh, and the other reason you probably want to drink with Scotty is Scotty's got a very loose relationship with the space-time continuum as well.
There you go. Anyway, moving on to number 1.
It just goes backwards. Maybe you'll cancel each other out.
Yeah, cancel each other out. There you go. Spock. Number 1, Spock.
Oh, you want to drink with Scotty?
I do. And I'm going to tell you why. He's going to keep me grounded while I'm drinking my beer. He's going to explain to me why I'm feeling like I'm feeling, how the beer was made, where the beer came from. It just, the drinking process is going to be logical.
Or he's just going to monitor you,
nerve pinch you, and be done with it.
Or he could do that too. After
about the 15th selfie, he'd be like, "I'm out of here."
That's it. It's done, right? And my honorable mention, so it's a bit of a stretch. Because it's an inanimate object. But it was not a triple. It's from the first Star Trek movie. Star Trek the movie.
V'ger.
Interesting. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because throughout V'ger was this, watching the movie, V'ger was this, anybody was talking about V'ger. It was this, being that was amazing, and you had to, you're looking forward to finding out who the hell V'ger was,
right?
And it's just Voyager 6. Damn it! I was going to ask you that question. Which Voyager was it? So.
What's funny? William Shatner wrote a series of books with 2 very prolific Star Trek authors, and they postulated in those books that V'ger was actually the creator of the Borg. And it tied everything together, old to new, in a really cool way.
Interesting.
Because remember, Spock goes through, the portal there. He goes through and he says, I believe we're inside a living machine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where they took the story from, that the entire planet was technological and created the Borg. So it was sort of the genesis of the Borg, and eventually in the 24th century became the Borg.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
It was really cool. I mean, now Shatner's name is on the title that he wrote the book, but these two people, Judith and Garfield Reeves Stevens, wrote a bunch of Star Trek novels for a very long time. They then collaborated with Shatner on a bunch of stuff. So obviously they filled in the blanks on a lot of it.
No, Gene Roddenberry wasn't involved in this at all.
No. But it was a really cool procession of how this V'ger became the Borg. And it made sense.
That's very cool.
I'm gonna have to read that actually.
And on a real world note, Voyager 1 just fired its thrusters again.
That's right. They were finally able to contact it.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
And this thing is so far from our planet right now. It is outside.
Well, it's out of the solar system.
It's well outside the solar system.
Well outside the solar system.
It survived going through the Oort cloud.
Yep.
And they just managed to get a message to it to fire its thrusters. And it's just pushing it further and further out there.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
We're still getting data back from it, except right now it's in a portion of space where there's just nothing to send back.
Right.
it's in void.
Right.
But we'll see if it ever gets anywhere and how long they can keep this thing alive.
Yeah. That's Voyager 1.
That's Voyager 1. Voyager 2 is out there too.
Mm-hmm. And V'ger was Voyager 6 too.
Right. Well, I don't think Voyager 2 is leaving the solar system for another 4 or 5 years, I think.
Yeah, it's still within our solar system. Yeah. It's outside Pluto's orbit.
Right.
I'm sorry, Pluto's not a planet anymore.
It's a dwarf planet. It's a planet.
No, it's a planet. They made it a planet again.
Mm-hmm. Did they reinstate it?
I think they did.
Did Degrassi Tyson give his stamp of approval?
I don't know if he gave his stamp of approval, but I think they made
because if he didn't, I'm going to have to punch him.
I think
because I was pissed. I was pissed at him when he was the one that led the charge to demote it.
Don't forget, we've got 2 moons now for the next month or 2.
Oh God, the internet will not let you fucking forget it.
No, I know.
An asteroid.
I know.
And this is something none of us will ever be able to see.
I know.
Because it's the size of a bus.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for 2 more suns, and it could be Tatooine. I mean,
there you go. There you go. Well, as long as it's the Mos Eisley spaceport, and we can go to Mos Eisley Cantina.
That's right.
Then
yes.
I'm going to go to Tassi
becoming
Tatooine.
I'm going to go to Tassi Station and pick up some parts. So.
We could do that.
Power converters.
I just want to watch the band playing.
Well, because you're going to never know. You'll never know a greater height of scum and villainy.
But you know what's funny about that movie? Lucas shot those scenes, and then he decided not to put them in there because he felt like it didn't move the story. Yet it absolutely moved the story and makes the story even more confusing now the way the presentation is.
Yep.
Right? Because Biggs is Luke's best friend.
Yep.
And Biggs decides he's going to join the rebellion.
Yep.
And so it's the impetus for Luke to want to get off the planet. And when he runs into Biggs again later in the film and he embraces him like, hey, long lost friend.
First time you see him.
Right. And if you don't know the backstory, you're completely confused. And then when he dies, Luke has this crestfallen look, all right, so that's another guy who died. If you didn't know the backstory, you'd be like, well, what's he mourning about him when all these other people are getting shot up all over the place?
Right.
And we don't see Tashi Station until
you don't see it at all.
No, the Book of Boba. It's in the Book of Boba.
Right. But I'm just saying
in the movies,
the first 3 movies,
and
you never see it.
Yeah.
The Book of Boba, that Kumbaya Boba Fett.
But that whole story there, which took maybe about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes of screen time, actually moves the story along. It gives a reason why he wants to get out of there.
Yeah, you never really understand why some scenes are taken out and some aren't.
Listen,
like even
George Lucas was a genius. You want to know why? Because he got so much money from 20th Century Fox after that movie was released because he parlayed points and all kinds of other stuff, including Alec Guinness saying, I'll take less salary and take points on the film, and got paid for the rest of his life, right? Lucas financed the the rest of the Star Wars film.
Just off the merchandising.
He never needed 20th Century Fox was just the vehicle to put the film out. He funded everything. So good for him.
Yeah.
Write the story however you want. I mean,
exactly.
It's your baby. You know what I mean?
This has been the Trekkie / Star Wars.
This is the sci-fi geek
portion of the show. There you go.
And if
got a couple comments.
If you drink craft beer, you're into some geeky thing, whether it's
whatever it is, exactly.
Hey,
plain ball, power ball, whatever.
Usually when Al goes, so this is my moment, because usually when Al's on the show, you guys geek out about sports. Mm-hmm. So now we're geeking on sci-fi. So hey, this is my side of the world. Exactly. This is why I got stuffed into lockers.
I got two.
Next time I'm on, let's do something with Blade Runner.
Done.
Oh, absolutely done. We got it. Oof. My favorite. Just real quick, my favorite thing about Blade Runner is one of the best.
Save it.
Save it.
Write it down. Save it. There you go.
Oh, I don't have to write it down. This thing.
You'll know it. There you go.
This thing lives rent free in my head, as the kids say.
Two quick comments. They're actually been there for a bit. I didn't put them up. Rod J. Beerbencher said, "Never thought I would say this, but I feel way too much beer here. I feel like way too much beer here."
Okay.
Same. We're in the same.
Well, I think he was referring to your beer, Dave.
No, he's talking about himself. That he's got way too much beer there.
I don't know. I think he might have been talking about yours. Rod, if you're still watching, let us know. Were you talking about yours or Dave?
From what I know about Rod, this is just a drop in the bucket.
There you go.
You got to remember, he's got a whole damn room.
That's true. He does.
I've got a corner of the bedroom.
There you go.
So
there you go. And then Brian Boak said, "Cheers, first beer of the night. Beach House Chase the Moon Imperial Stout."
He brought all this great ass stuff back from Hatteras.
He's saving it for us.
No, he's not. You know,
I'm kidding.
No, he's not. No.
There you go. Whatchamacallit. On that note, really, I just wanted to bring, because we did post, we were going to talk really briefly about Tilray. And then we got to end the show in a couple minutes. But as far as the, I'll just want to get your thoughts on the newest Tilray acquisition. We know what they bought from Bud, from Anheuser-Busch last year. This year from Miller Coors, they bought Hop Valley Brewing,
Terrapin, Revolver, and Atwater. They finally closed on Atwater.
Yeah,
but
really,
here's the news. Here's the news today that you may not know. Tilray is, or Breckenridge apparently is closing up shop, and will no longer be producing beer at the former Sweetwater Brewing facility as of October 25th.
Breckenridge is gone.
It's done.
Done in terms of making beer. I don't know how that moves them forward. What's going to happen?
But you can't move forward as a brewery if you don't make beer.
They will be moving large scale production from their Fort Collins brewery to other Tilray brewing facilities in an effort to eliminate areas of duplication within the organization.
Okay. So they're ceasing brewing beer.
Correct.
Right. I got you.
So vanilla porter will still be out there.
Yes, but it'll be brewed somewhere else.
Gotcha.
So it might be
again makes sense. They've acquired all these places. You've got to shorten the ledger a little bit.
Sure.
They got rid of all the people over at 10 Barrel, right?
Yes, that was
wiped out, which was a bloodbath.
Yes.
But I understand it. You're a publicly traded company. You're trying to do things to move the needle a little bit. They just released a whole cannabis group of beverages today. Listen, full disclosure, I have stock in Tilray. So I like this move. Their stock rose a little bit. I mean, I'm still a little underwater on the stock, but okay, they have to.
It looks like they're growing, and
look, for them, the game changer is going to be this: if the federal government decides to declassify marijuana as a Class 1 drug, that will be the game changer for them.
Yeah, because now they'll be able to sell their product in the breweries that they own,
and in the United States. I mean, they can sell it in certain places, but they can't sell it everywhere.
Right.
Cannabis stuff. So,
what if and that's that allow both to be sold in the same location?
Well, listen, look what Murphy did with the hemp products in Jersey. He screwed them.
Yeah.
Liquor stores don't have the refrigeration to handle those things. I thought that was a dumb move by him signing that bill. Really was. He undercut the hemp industry big time.
And everyone's just going to go into New York and buy from there.
Right. And with the with the Tilray thing, you sort of knew this was coming, that they were acquiring all these places. At some point, you can't sustain all of these different places.
Right.
You've got to start closing up shop. So what one can do, 5 different brands of beer in one place as opposed to having 5 different locations.
So
makes sense.
A lot of people looked at like Tilray buying some of these from AB InBev.
Right.
Starting to acquire breweries that were probably fodder for AB InBev at one point.
Right.
So AB InBev has stopped their acquisitions. and starting to sell off because they're starting to see the writing on the wall.
Right.
I forgot where I was going with that. But the Tilray, well, we looked at it. It's like, okay, so we've got this consortium. They're not consortium. I used that word before. It's not a consortium, but you've got this other interest. You've got this other company that is now buying these breweries. They're a marijuana industry. That's what they're based off of. But now they're expanding into the craft beer world, and we're like, hey, that's better than AB InBev buying them. But we're seeing layoffs. We're seeing contractions of operations and all that. Other than your stock shares, is this a better thing than being owned by AB InBev?
If they want to become profitable, you're going to need to do this, right? So they've sort of saved a lot of these breweries because let's face it, when Blue Point and these others were acquired by AB InBev, people that were in the craft world were like, well, you know what? I'm not drinking them anymore. I'm done.
Like Elysian, was another one.
Right. So now, but I think they still own Elysian.
They do.
They do. They didn't sell Elysian. No.
No, they got rid of Blue Point.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm just using that as an example. So now that Blue Point is no longer an AB beer, I would be apt to buy a Blue Point beer if I saw it.
Right.
Because now I know it's being sold by an independent company and not a large conglomerate.
Why is Tilray different? Other than you say you didn't.
Because I don't think they're looking to take over the world with beer. They have other interests.
Because I know my answer to that question.
No, I think.
But I was just wondering what your answer to the question.
No, I think that they're doing it in a different direction. They're saying that we have beer, but we also have cannabis products and other stuff. And look, some of the brands that they did buy, like Atwater and Terrapin or whatever, they're good beers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not terrible beers. I mean, the Shock Top one was sort of, maybe threw it in there like
that's barely beer.
Do what you want, right? Do what you want with it. I mean, I still see.
They wanted to shed the shit and they wanted to get rid of it.
Right, exactly. So, but I don't blame them for shuttering some of these places because they have too much. They've got to consolidate a little bit. It's a different story than an independent brewery having two locations and suddenly, well, we don't have the infrastructure or the cash flow to deal with it. This is a company in Canada that's making money in cannabis. The beer is sort of secondary to what they're doing.
Just to play devil's advocate here, though, would we be giving that pass if AB InBev did for the same reasons? I don't think so.
Because they're a global consortium. That's why.
Right. Because we see them different.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
We see them different. But both companies are doing it for the same reason. One's evil, one's not.
Right. So now they're not evil.
Not yet.
They could be.
We can see.
They could be the Romulans.
It could be the Romulans.
It could be the Romulans. But my answer to the question I posed to you, to be fair, is that the reason it's different for me is because Tilray doesn't use the money they have to pump into their legal team to stomp on other breweries.
Right.
That's the big difference for me.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to play nice in the sandbox. I don't have a problem with that.
Got it.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it either.
No, at this point I don't. Let's see how things
progress.
I would think.
I'm watching it with great interest.
I would think of all the breweries that they've now acquired, which is probably 14, I want to say.
Yeah,
18.
Wow.
I would think out of the 18 that they've acquired, I would not be surprised within the next, say, 18 months, you see 4 of them close.
Yeah, there's that, and
take the underproduced. I mean, Shock Top should be the first one right off the list.
Of course, please.
And then you've probably got 4 or 5 others that you could probably say, all right, we'll fold it all up. I mean, the 10 barrel one was kind of a shock because they had an innovative program. They were doing so many great things. Why would you lay off a staff that is renowned? I mean, they were doing very well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why
what's her name still working? Was she still at what was her name?
No, she's out. She was out too. They got rid of her.
She was still there. I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes.
They got rid of everybody.
This is why at first I was applauding the Tilray acquisitions, and then I saw the Bloodbath at 10 Barrel, and I went, I'm now going to sit and watch this with a slightly prejudiced eye right now.
Right.
I really want to see what their actions are going forward with this. There may have been damn good reasons with the 10 Barrel Bloodbath. We don't know.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Sour beer is a niche beer. You either like it or you don't. It's not a beer that you're going to go, yeah, every once in a while I'll have one. No, you're either drinking it on a regular basis, or you're not drinking it at all.
But some of these houses, that's what they've made themselves on. This is what they've become successful on.
100%.
So,
but that's a bean counter who doesn't understand that relationship and how to market it effectively to make money. That's what it is.
Yep.
And you could boil that down to any brewery right now. What can we market that we can sell? If the hazy juicy thing is the thing, then that's what we need to focus on. If it's lagers, then we need to focus on lagers. I think and it speaks to what you said, Samurai, an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these guys don't have a good business sense.
Right.
And they don't know how to make that hard call to say, the people that are coming into my brewery, 9 out of 10 of them are buying the hazy IPA. So we need to make more hazy IPAs because that's what they're buying.
Tanya Cornett, by the way.
Yes, she was out. She was let go too.
To reach out to her.
Well, hit some of the comments, Johnny, and then.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments in here. Brian just answered you. He said he just unloaded the car. None of it was cold.
Fair enough. Right. We'll give you that.
Chris Ayers commented, "Hey guys, Oak Flower in the house tonight." Chris,
Chris, how we doing, buddy? Look at the puppy. He's got himself a dachshund there, doesn't he? It looks like a silky dachshund.
Yeah.
So well-fed silky dachshund.
There you go. Cool. All right. I was going to bring up beer fests, and we could talk about that for like a minute or whatever, and then we'll close the show. But this all revolves around like the state of the industry right now. Beer fests are down too. Like
they're stumbling.
Well, here's the answer, and it's pretty simple. Why go to a beer fest when I can get the same beer at the local brewery that's going to be there? Mm-hmm. You need to make it unique. Mm-hmm. John Henderson did a great job making the beer fest unique. First it was the music, then it was the experience, then it was this. Now it's the beer. If I'm spending, and it's inflation too. It's ticket price. If I'm spending, listen, last weekend was Hops for Hope up at Lost Tavern.
Right.
They had 30 breweries there. It's a 2-hour pouring session. There's 2 sessions. They used to be 3 hours. I think the first time was 4 hours. Then they cut it to 3 because people were overindulging. And then they cut it to 2.
No.
It was $70. They didn't give you a T-shirt. They gave you a glass and a poster of whatever. I had a lot of stuff going on. I said, you know what? I got to make an executive decision. I can't go there. And I'm happy to give the money to that one.
Mm-hmm. You've been going every year for how long?
I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years. But 100% of the proceeds of that goes to pediatric cancer. And they do raffles and all kinds of stuff. And it's great. It's a great event. But $70 was pricey for me for 2 hours. And you know what? Unfortunately, I couldn't do it. I just coming back from Philly the night before and whatever. It just didn't work out for me, right? That's part of the problem. The other part of it is, what am I getting at a beer festival that I can't get at any of these other breweries? Right. The 1 year or 2 years that John said, every brewery has to bring a beer that they're either making for the event or is a special brew or whatever it is, that drew people for the beer. Now, maybe some people came for the music. Maybe some people came for, dunk a stripper or throwing a hatchet or whatever, right? Which I'm glad he brought the dunk a stripper back because that was cool. But that's the niche to get them to come in. What I would do is require every brewery to make a beer, and this one is pretty simple. Mm-hmm. You make a beer that debuts at the AC Beer and Music Fest, and you know what? Depending on if you go, maybe we'll put it on tap at the brewery, or maybe we'll release it in cans at some point, but not the next week. Like it'll be a week or 2 down the road, or 3 weeks.
And you're one of the first to have it.
Right.
That's
what you got to do. When Bolero did this, the Skittles beer, and said we're doing a pour and it's at this time or this and that, people were running to their tent. running. They've been falling over themselves to go and get that beer.
You know where that came from?
From what?
I'm at Hunapoo in the carton
right.
booth, pouring for carton.
Right.
Scott Wells walks up to me, goes, "You need to go over to the trailer and get this Skittles beer." I said, "I'm the only one pouring right now." Scott Wells, of all people, said, "I'll cover for you."
Oh.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, Scott is behind.
He was young and carefree.
No, he didn't pour back then either. This is how much this beer impressed him.
Right.
And I went there and he was right. And then a year later,
right,
Balero's doing a Skittles beer.
Right.
Balero's doing a Skittles beer.
But I'm just saying that's what I think that you need to do. I think
yes.
That's the reason.
But that's why Hunapoo was so damn successful.
I know, but that's
there's
why
variance there.
But that's why his summer thing didn't go off, because nobody wanted to sit out in the hot sun in the middle of an airfield in Atlantic City in July. And I love the guy, and I think he puts on fantastic events, and what he does for Atlantic City is amazing. I don't know of anybody who supports a town that is so depressed, that has so many issues,
and can get the accent that he can get.
Right. And the fact that he's leading the charge to get people to come and spend a weekend there and spend hundreds of dollars. He does a phenomenal job.
It's not technically a selfie, but yeah, it's a phone shot.
It's a pallet of Skittles at Bolero. Yeah.
Well, everyone is always saying.
But what I'm saying is that's what you need to start doing with these things. You need to start making them like the kickoff to New York City Beer Week. See, I want Jersey to do this. This is the thing that Jersey should do. They should have a week of New Jersey beers. Do it at some convention center. You have every New Jersey brewery brew a beer for the first time that nobody is, that they've never brewed before, whatever it is. You get people to come. They have the New York City Beer Week. They get guest breweries. Jay Wakefield's pouring some crazy bottle at 4:00 show up here. This one's pouring this one at 1:00. That's what you need to do. If you want to get the people that are drinking beer, you have to attract them that way.
That's another. Let me ask you this: based on what you're saying there, all right? Let me ask you this: have we, as an industry, gotten complacent on what we do?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
All right.
100%.
Yeah. There's no question. No question.
It's the Field of Dreams thing. Build it, and they will come. Well, they've come. Now they want more.
And you look at the Beer Fest now.
Give them more.
You look at the Beer Fest.
It's always been a "what have you done for me lately" industry, and that just means in the beer we brew. But it's everything.
But if you go to a beer fest now and you go to a brewery, like you're really excited to go, like say you've got and you get Treehouse come to an event,
right?
And they've got Julius and Green, and that's all they're pouring.
Yeah, exactly.
Put me right under the keg.
Well, yeah, there's that. It's great.
I'm not moving. I'm like this the whole time.
These are still great beers, but you just brought two beers that most everybody's had. Yes, we all want to have it again.
Right.
But it's...
Give me their Pilsner. Give me their Hefeweizen. Let me tell you something. People don't buy those beers. They're fantastic.
That's the thing
you have to
do.
But
you come into a beer fest, you're looking for something special.
I go to Treehouse, by the way. I'm not buying Julius and Green. I'm buying the Pilsner. I'm buying
I'm buying the Czech Dark.
But that's the point. So now that beer drinkers' tastes are getting more
old school again, old school, retro.
Old school, whatever it is, right? They want to try different things. So that's the hook. Hey, you come to this event, I guarantee you this is, and John can do this brilliantly. He can walk along the Atlantic City boardwalk, taping a video. Listen, not only are we going to have 80 breweries there or whatever the number is, but every brewery is bringing a beer that you've never had before.
So John, what is one of the days today?
What's that?
Festival of
the latest novelties.
It just got Germaine.
But if you're a craft beer drinker and you hear that, right? There's the old curmudgeonly guy who's sitting on Reddit who's going, I don't go to beer festivals anymore. I'm too good for that. But then there are, the people like me who go, hey, wait a second. 80 breweries and every one of them is bringing a beer that I've never had before or something rare that they're pulling out of their cellar or whatever. Man, that sounds like a fun day. How much is it? I'm going.
Yeah.
Make it an appointment. Make it something that you tell your friends. Holy shit. XYZ beer is going to be there, and they're bringing this, which they never bring out of the brewery. Carton's going to be there, and they're bringing their affogato, and they've never brought it anywhere except the brewery.
Right.
That's what you got to do.
Or redoing
Brian Boak just commented. He says Boaks did hourly special pours at most festivals.
Bingo. There you go.
There you go.
Well, Ross did that too.
Sure.
See, the one thing about John that I thought was great, every time he was at something, he had some bottle of something. Hey, we're cracking this at 3:00, creating a buzz, getting people to talk about them, getting the buzz going around that festival. That's what you need to do. And I think as brewers, I think at some point that you've gotten complacent, or, like I'm going to go to Snallygaster because Snallygaster is going to have all this crazy stuff that I can't get anywhere else.
That's the thing is, you look, and then you had some of those festivals, and there's still some of those, like Extreme Beer Fest,
right,
where all the breweries are trying to outdo each other.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
but there's no Extreme Beer Fest anymore.
Nope, Hunapoo was that way, and there's no Hunapoo anymore. Right.
Well, even in San Diego. So a couple of years ago when I went, the San Diego Beer Week is in November. They did an event in La Jolla at Torrey Pines, where you paid this, ridiculous amount of money, but it was worth it because every brewery paired up with a restaurant to do the beer with the food. So maybe a brewery had a chocolate peanut butter stout with ice cream. Maybe it was something else with seafood or whatever the case may be. And the brewers didn't know what restaurant they were pairing up with until the week before the event.
See, that's a great thing right there. That's
they
awesome.
had to be creative. Which beer? All right, I already have a beer. Which beer am I bringing? I have 8 beers. Can I bring this one? Will it match up with
what's going to work with this?
Right. What's going to work with it?
And it was little plates. You walked around. They had music. You're on this beautiful golf course. You're overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It was an event that you wanted to be at. But they ended up now this year, they didn't do that because they ended up losing money because they weren't getting enough ticket sales. And so they're doing smaller events in and around the breweries around San Diego. Now, will they still make money? Probably. Could they make as much money as they did at that other event? Probably not. But that's something New Jersey needs to do.
Right.
It would be exciting.
Well, that's like what there's a point, at one point, the Battleship is exciting. Right, they were bringing special beers, and then there's that massive collab amongst all the brewers.
Right,
that also showed up. Now, granted, it had to be canceled this year because the Battleship was in dry dock in Philly.
Right,
but
right.
It's
and it was
been.
Heat. I think it was heat too. I think it was heat related that they decided to cancel it. They were going to have it. It didn't matter, but I think it was heat related. And
they're going to have it on the deck of the ship while it was in dry dock in Philly.
No. I think they were going to have it. They were just going to have it
elsewhere.
In Camden, but not at the dock.
On the grounds. Okay,
adjacent to it.
Yeah, there's space there.
Well, listen, I'm talking slightly out of school, but I'm gonna say it anyway. There was supposed to be a big beer event this summer that got the kibosh put on because of 1 or 2 people within the New Jersey brewery industry, and I don't want to say sabotage, but basically put a sour taste in everybody's stomach that they decided not to do it. And had they done it, I think it would have been a fantastic event. And I'm hoping that they can do it next year. And I'll leave it at that. That's it. I'm not naming any names. Just saying it should have happened and it didn't.
I've got to run that way real quick.
Go for it.
I'm gonna mute. I'll be right back.
No. Well, we were gonna. All right.
We're gonna end the show. I'm gonna end the show.
All right. You end the show.
They've just said goodbye. Is basically what we're saying. So
nature was calling.
Nature was calling, as usually does. As he usually does while I'm giving my top 3. But tonight he went a little longer. Actually, the last couple of weeks he's gone a little longer. So his bladder's getting better for him.
That's good.
That's a good thing. Or he's not drinking as much during the show. One or the other. I don't know.
One or the other.
It's fun. One or the other. But on that note, so stick around now. On that note, we'll wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, which is now X, and Twitch every Tuesday night. When do I stop saying Twitter, which is now X? Just say X now.
Say Twitter. Just say Twitter.
It's Twitter. And Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes, pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you will find the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Al, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Anytime.
Really appreciate it, as always. It's always great to have you on the show. We go over a lot of news, a lot of industry stuff, and it's always a fantastic time to have you on the show.
Cool.
And
look, there he is.
And there he is. He's back. There you
go. What'd I do?
There you go. Anyway, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk to you next week, guys. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.